Hey Cake Chums, and welcome back to another video. Before we get started today, I thought I would give you a bit of an update on the whole Easy Bake Oven situation. As I mentioned last week, it seems that because our electricity supply is 240 volts and in America it's 120 volts, by running the Easy Bake Oven on a UK power supply, I have essentially fried its insides. Now, I did end up buying a transformer plug which allows me to run American appliances on 120 volts, but having plugged it into the Easy Bake Oven, or plugged the Easy Bake Oven into it, it's still not working. So I think, unfortunately, the damage is irreversible, but worry not, we are not giving up on our Easy Bake Oven adventures, and I have a third Easy Bake Oven currently winging its way to me as we speak. In the meantime, I thought we'd turn our attention to another video that lots of you have been requesting that I make, and that is unboxing the new Kenwood Titanium Chef. It's over there, I'm just going to read it. And that is unboxing the new Kenwood Titanium Chef Patissier XL stand mixer. Now, if you haven't yet seen my top 10 gift ideas for cake decorators that I uploaded back in December, then you will have no idea what I'm talking about. So if you want to go and check that one out first, I will put a link up in the corner, but otherwise, let's get to the video. Now, as you can see, I have yet to even open the box because I did want to do it on camera. But again, if you haven't yet seen December's video, when Kenwood heard that I was going to be filming my top 10 gift ideas for cake decorators, they asked if I would like to include the Kenwood Titanium Chef Patissier XL stand mixer. Whew! Now, in the interest of full disclosure or transparency or what have you, I am a Kenwood ambassador, which is why they sent me this mixer. They're not just in the habit of dishing them out willy-nilly, as far as I'm aware. But this is supposed to be kind of like the Rolls Royce of stand mixers for those of us who make cakes, etc. Now, I've heard really amazing things about this. I think this is doing weird things to the lighting, including the fact that this has a heating feature, meaning that you can create things that require you normally to heat them on the stove in your stand mixer. It also has a built-in weighing scales, it has 2 different nesting bowls, 6 simple touch preset functions, a digitally controlled motor, the Bowl Bright light, which you've also seen before on my normal Kenwood Chef Titanium mixer. But I figured, rather than just talk about it, why don't we unbox it here on my channel together, and then we might even have a go at a recipe to put it through its paces. So I think I'm going to need to adjust the camera angle because you really can't see much like this, can you? Don't go anywhere. Is that better? I think so. Although in full Wizard of Oz style, I'm going to ask you to ignore everything that you can see here, because this is where I normally shove stuff out of view of the camera, but with this wide angle, you can pretty much see everything, including the cakes that I am in the process of disposing of, and a few other bits and pieces as well. But yes, ignore those, because we're going to be looking right here. And again, this is very bright white, so it might be doing strange things to the lighting. If it is, I do apologise. So, first of all, here is the box. You can see Kenwood branding and a lovely glamour shot of the mixer itself, and then just some of those kind of key features that I shared with you during the intro. If we tip it forward slightly, you can see it has the customary Kenwood what's in the box. And we have, if I can see, a 7-litre Easy Warm bowl, a 5-litre stainless steel bowl, the stainless steel K-beater, the stainless steel whisk, the stainless steel dough tool, and I believe for the first time in the box with a mixer, the creaming beater. Now again, if you've watched my videos before, you will know that that creaming beater is my absolute favourite attachment for any of the Kenwood stand mixers, and believe me, I have a lot of them. I use it for making my cake batters, I use it for making my buttercream. It really is incredibly versatile. On the back of the box, you can see some of those key features from the front explained in a bit more detail. So the bold bright light, the stainless steel baking tools, we've got the 7-litre easy warm bowl, we've got the built-in easy weigh scales, we've got the intuitive BakerSys touchscreen, and we have got the fact that the 5-litre and the 7-litre bowls are nesting. So let's open the box. Ooh. So inside the top flap, we've got information here for the quick start guide. We may well check out that in a moment. And we have the information you need to register your mixer. There is the instruction manual, which is quite a weighty tome. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is pop this on the floor and then we'll lift it out back onto the bench. Okay, so in the side there we've got the dough hook. On the other side here we have got the K-Beater, and don't forget, because this is an XL mixer, these are quite significantly bigger than the ones you may be used to if you just have a normal Kenwood stand mixer. We have got the splash guard with the helpful flap opening there. There is a plastic scraper which is useful for scraping out the bowl, very nice touch. A rather huge balloon whisk attachment, and then here is the mixer itself. Oh, and hiding underneath was another plastic spatula. I have to say, I love these, they are fantastic. Again, if I then lift the lid up, in the bowl here we have got that creaming flexi beater that I absolutely love. So again, it's a little bit larger than normal because it is of course an XL stand mixer. But what you can see here is it's got these flexy kind of plasticky rubbery flaps down the side of the beater, and what these do is scrape around the bowl to make sure that you don't miss any of your mixture. And that's why I love this, because it takes away that need to get in and scrape around with a spatula. We also then have the two bowls. So this is the 5-litre bowl, and this one here is the 7-litre bowl. And then, as you might expect with a Kenwood mixer, we also then have all of these sections that you can take off to add extra attachments. So the blender or the food processor on the top there. At the front here we have the attachments for things like the pasta roller and so on. Now, to give you a bit of a clearer understanding on how the XL models compare to the regular Kenwood titaniums, this is my normal Kenwood Chef Titanium, and this is the new Kenwood Titanium Chef Patissier XL. So you can see that it is quite significantly taller, and that of course obviously gives us room for that 7-litre bowl as opposed to the regular 4.6-litre bowl of the regular Kenwood Chef. Now, I literally have not taken this out of the box until now, so I genuinely have no idea about how any of this new functionality works. This is me seeing it for the first time with you. So I think we're going to plug it in and we'll have a look. Okay, so we are all plugged in, and I guess the next thing is to switch it on. There's actually an on-off switch down on the back here, which isn't on any of the other Kenwood models that I have used at least. Turning it on there has switched on the lights that I can see now inside the bowl, and there is the screen here which has come on. I don't know if you can see that on camera, and it says check the Kenwood World app for the latest recipes. After that, it's switched to another menu where we can see that the heating element is off. This looks to be possibly the scales are off, and then we have got the timer possibly. It's a touchscreen menu, which means everything is controlled through this small touch assist screen here. And I can see straight away that I've got a settings cog up in the corner. So if I hit that, it brings up a sub menu that says to zero things. We've got a screensaver, brightness, sounds, languages, background, bowl bright, online tour, about appliance, and factory reset. So I think online tour might be a good place to start. So if I hit that, it brings up a QR code which I can scan with my mobile phone. So let's do that. So I've opened the camera app on my phone, going to focus it on the screen. Oh, there we go. Sorry, I completely missed that it brought up the link. And that's taken me to a website that looks like this. And it says, getting started with Titanium Chef Patissier XL, take the tour. So let's do that. Oh, we have a video to watch. Okay, so in that video, first thing I noticed was that there are some various different customizable features that we can use, including turning off the bowl bright light. I'm going to leave mine on because if nothing else, it will be easier for you guys to see what I'm doing in the mixer. But I did like the idea of changing the background color. So let's do that first of all. The colors options we've got are black and white, yellow, purple, pink, and this really nice kind of tealy color. You know it's going to be pink. Okay, so job one, we now have a nice pink background. Again, apologies if it doesn't show up on camera. And then we also have the option to turn on a screensaver, which we can set how long it takes for it to come on. So the options are that it's off, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes. Now, of course, I could sit here and make you watch me learn about all the different functions of this mixer, but I don't think that would make for a very entertaining video. So I think what I'm going to do is see if I can figure out how to whip up a fairly simple recipe using some of its built-in features, and we may well have to consult the user guide as we go, but I'll be honest, I'm a typical man. I'd much rather just have a play rather than take the time to read the manual. So let's hope that isn't a mistake. Okay, so as I mentioned when I first received this from Kenwood back in December, there are a couple of things that I'm really excited to hopefully be able to use this model for. One of which being Swiss meringue buttercream, something that again requires you to heat before you then mix in a stand mixer, and another one is lemon curd. I absolutely love making curds to go in my cakes, but the fact that you have to stand there over a double boiler at the hob whisking for 10 plus minutes is such a pain, and it's something that I'm hoping that this mixer can do for me. The fact that it has that easy warm bowl should hopefully negate the need to use a double boiler at the hob, which means essentially I should be able, as long as I'm using a fairly simple curd recipe, to throw everything into the bowl, leave it running for 10 or so minutes, and end up with a deliciously zingy lemon curd. And that's what we're going to be trying out today. It seems that there are two different ways to use your Titanium Chef Patissier XL. One of which is manual, which means you are essentially in control of everything, from the temperature to the speed to the amount of time it runs for and so on. Or alternatively, you can use one of the pre-programmed in functions, of which there seems to be a lot, including dough proving, chocolate melting, Swiss meringue, egg white mixing, sponge cake, dough kneading, and so on. So I think in today's video, because we're trying lemon curd, which of course isn't one of these pre-programmed in recipes, we are going to give things a go in manual. Okay, and what I did notice as well, I don't know if you did, but when I lifted up the mixer head here, it automatically switched into weighing scales, which is quite useful to know. Of course, because we're going to be using the warming function, I'm going to use the 7-litre bowl, which says warm, and 7 litre on the side here. And because we're making lemon curd, we are going to need the whisk attachment. I'm kind of making this up as I go along, but let's be honest, how many of us would do that when we unbox this mixer for the first time? And that's kind of the reason why I don't just want to jump straight into a preset program. I want to see how intuitively one is able to use the mixer. So to make my lemon curd, the first thing I'm going to do is turn on the heating element. Now, because you would normally make lemon curd in a double boiler, we don't want this to get super hot. So looking at the guide in here in terms of warming hints and tips, it gives you the sorts of ideas you would use certain numbers for. For example, number 1 you might use for softening butter, number 2 and 3 would be used for proving dough, 4 and 5 is what it recommends for Swiss meringues, 6 and 7 for melting chocolate, and 8 and 9 for making something like a sabayon. Because I would usually use a double boiler for making Swiss meringue, I'm going to use those same numbers for making my lemon curd today. I'm going to start by highlighting the heating element, and I'm going to turn it up to number 5. That should hopefully have turned on the warming element. And the really simple lemon curd recipe we're going to be using today is one that is available online. It's not my own, and I'll put a link to it down in the video description. What I like about this recipe is you literally do just throw everything into the bowl and then you whisk it until it comes together to form your curd. Normally you would do this standing at the hob with a double boiler, as they say, but today, in theory, we should just be able to do it all in the stand mixer. Now, while that's warming up, I'm going to start adding my ingredients, and we're starting with 50 grams of butter. Before we start mixing, we want that butter to melt, so that's a great ingredient to add first. And I'm actually not going to jump in with any more ingredients until I see that butter actually starting to melt. Okay, one thing I neglected to mention is once you've turned on that heating element, you need to push on the center of the dial here, and that turns on the heating part here. And what happens on the screen is that small bar there where we've got the number 5 to show that we are in heating mode starts pulsing red. I can see the butter is melting, and we've literally been going for about 1 minute, so it's super quick as well. What's also quite nice is that it shows me how long I've been in that heating mode as well now. So we're currently up to 2 minutes and 18 seconds, and I can see that my butter has half melted already. So in with that, I'm going to add in my sugar, the zest of 2 lemons, the juice of those 2 lemons, and finally 2 eggs. Give those a quick mix with a fork. And then we'll add them into the bowl as well. And then in theory, I should just be able to turn the mixer on and leave it to run for about 10 minutes, and hopefully all of these ingredients will come together to give us a delicious lemon curd. Okay, so I've just hit the center of the dial there, and what that's done is it's paused everything. So it's paused the mixing, it's paused the heating, and that means that I should be able to lift up the mixer head and have a look at how my lemon curd is going. Now, I will say that I notice it's gradually got warmer as we've been going, so I wonder if possibly it wasn't warm enough straight away, but looking at my lemon curd at the moment, we are still quite liquidy. So what I'm going to do is increase that heat slightly, and hopefully we'll have lemon curd very soon. So Okay, so after what feels like about 400 years, we have got to the point where the lemon curd mixture has thickened up to the point that I feel like it is ready. Now, yes, it has taken a very long time, but that's not the fault of the stand mixer. That is possibly because I had too much liquid in my mix, whether that is because my lemons were particularly juicy, whether my eggs were larger than usual, but essentially when you are making lemon curd, one of the reasons why you heat it is to reduce that liquid content to the point that it starts thickening up. Now it is still quite runny at the moment because what will happen is it will start to stiffen as it cools down. But if I turn this off, the best way to check is take a spoon, dip it in your curd mixture, and then if I show you on camera here, if I run a finger through it, you can see it leaves that trail behind. Now this recipe doesn't have a huge amount of sugar in it, only 100 grams. So, it is a very zingy, sharp lemon curd, but that's what I love because if you pair that with a sweet cake and buttercream, it really cuts through some of that sweetness. Now when you're serving it up, you've got two options. You can either leave the lemon zest in there, which of course really helps add to that zingy flavour, or you can do what I usually do, which is put the bowl of mix through a fine mesh sieve and sieve out that zest. So we are going to do that, and while we're doing that, I'm going to talk about this mixer. So of course, I have not really spent much time looking at it at all. While the mixer has been running making my curd, which it was doing for over 30 minutes, I have been reading through the manual, and I have to say it does look, particularly when it comes to the preset programs, I do think there is a lot of scope there for saving myself time and effort when I am making various recipes. But when it comes to things like lemon curd, which of course isn't one of the preset programs, I do think I'm going to have to spend some time with the machine, just kind of learning what sort of numbers work best and so on. I did find during the making process of my curd that I did have to increase the heat slightly, but I do feel that one of the things that I would like to know is what temperature each of those settings are. So it goes from heat setting 1 up to heat setting 9, but I don't as yet know what that means in terms of temperature. Not that I know off the top of my head what temperature lemon curd should reach, but there we go. And then while it's still warm, I'm going to decant my lemon curd into a clean, sterile jar. I'm now going to get zest back in it again because I'm using the same spatula, but never mind. And then that just needs to be left to come back down to room temperature again, by which time it should have set and be ready to use in my bakes. So, if we pop this back on here for now. Okay, so final thoughts on the, I'm going to read it off the box, Kenwood Titanium Chef Patissier XL stand mixer. First of all, I think it looks absolutely great. If you're a fan of the Kenwood Chef Titanium, then you are going to love this model. I love all of the attachments. Obviously I'm very used to using all of them, but I love that for the first time ever that creaming flexi beater comes in the box with the mixer itself. I love that second bowl because quite often when I'm baking a cake and then some sort of filling or topping to go on that cake. So having the two bowls means that you're not having to stop and wash up as you go along. And then in terms of this added functionality that you get with this model in particular, first of all, the lights, so you can see what's going on in the bowl, absolutely brilliant. As I say, the Kenwood Chef Titanium now has that as well, and it is a feature that I already loved on that model. The Bake Assist touchscreen, I do think, yes, I need to spend a bit longer getting to know the functionality and so on, but it does seem incredibly intuitive and easy to use. As you saw, I was able very quickly to get my head around turning on the heating function, adjusting the different speeds of the mixer and so on and so forth. I also love that you're able to set the background color, because you know, little things like that just help you to make it your own and help you to make it fit in with your surroundings or your kitchen, your studio. Although we didn't use them today because I'd already measured out my ingredients, I do think that having those built-in scales is just going to save so much time. Again, the majority of my baking is a bog standard sponge cake to turn into a decorated cake. And of course with that you are adding in your ingredients one at a time, so being able to add your butter, cream it together, zero the scale, add your sugar, cream that into the butter, zero the scale, add your eggs, zero, add your flour, and so on. It's taking away that extra step of having your scales and a bowl or a couple of bowls to measure out your ingredients. And I'm really looking forward to getting stuck into some of those preset functions as well. So the melting the chocolate, the proving the bread doughs, the making Swiss meringue. To be honest, I think I could spend the next few weeks just really getting to know this mixer really well. But obviously this was a first look and first impressions, and what I will say is my first impression is I'm really impressed. And also this lemon curd smells absolutely amazing. You can see that it's already starting to thicken up now that it is coming back down to room temperature, and that's going to be absolutely delicious inside a cake. If you would like to see me continue to explore the functions of the, let me read it again, Kenwood Titanium Chef Patissier XL stand mixer, then do head down to the comments and let me know what you would like to see me try out next. Obviously, again, I do think we should get into some of those kind of preset functions or preset recipes almost for some of the things, such as I say, dough proving, chocolate melting, Swiss meringue, egg white whisking, sponge cake, dough kneading. But also there's even some recipes in here as well that you can use to try out those functions too. So yeah, really looking forward to having a thorough read of the manual, which by the way is in lots of different languages. That's why it's so thick. The English section is literally that. So don't panic that there's all of this to get your head around. No, it is just that first bit there. And I do think that as this mixer becomes more prevalent and more people are using it, you'll find more people kind of updating recipes to show the settings and the temperatures and things that you need to know to be able to use it completely effectively. But as I say, one thing I want to know is what do each of those temperature settings mean, and that's something that I'm going to endeavour to find out before my next video. But yes, in the meantime, thank you as always so much for watching this week's video. I do hope you enjoyed getting to know the new Kenwood Chef Patissier with me. If it has piqued your interest and you would like to know more, I will pop a couple of links to it in the video description, including where to find it on the Kenwood website and a couple of stockists. Of course, thank you to Kenwood for sending it over to me. It has been lots of fun playing with it, and again, this has purely whet my appetite to want to find out more, so really looking forward to doing that. And of course, if you did enjoy this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up down below. If it's your first time here, don't forget to hit that big red subscribe button. And if you'd like to receive a notification every time I upload a new video, you can of course ring the bell as well. I'm going to disappear so that I can make a cake to use my delicious lemon curd inside it. And I will see you at the same time next week for another video. Until then, take care guys and happy caking. Bye.